The first time King Rowan Vale truly heard fear inside his own palace, it wasn't from an enemy blade or a rebel howl. It was from a human voice, cracking in the dark, shouting, "Don't touch her." The words sliced through the marble corridor like a siren. Rowan was walking back from the council chamber, still wearing the crown crest coat and that blank, deadly face everyone in Nocton Court feared. He expected silence. He expected servants to bow and vanish. Instead, he heard a struggle near the East Gallery, the wing reserved for one person only, Queen Mother Isolde. Rowan's guards stepped forward, hands on hilts, but Rowan lifted a finger and they froze. He moved without hurry because hurry is what prey does. The corridor smelled of candle smoke, old roses, and something sharper underneath, blood, fresh. His mother's door stood half open, which was wrong. The door was always locked with a royal seal. Always. Inside, the room was dim, lit by one single lamp. The curtains were drawn tight. The air was cold enough to sting. And there between the velvet chaise and the carved bed, Rowan saw it. A human employee, a girl in a plain black uniform standing in front of Isolde like a shield. The girl's hands were shaking, but her stance was firm, feet planted, shoulders squared. Across from her was Dr. Halbrecht, Rowan's personal physician, holding a small silver syringe and smiling like he owned the place. Two palace enforcers flanked him, both nobles, both armed. "Step aside, little thing," Halbrecht said, voice smooth as oil. "Her Grace needs her medicine." The girl swallowed, eyes bright with panic and rage. "That isn't medicine, that's a silenced dose. I saw the label." One of the enforcers laughed. "A servant can read now, yeah, cute." Queen Mother Isolde sat on the bed, hair loose, gown half-buttoned, her wrists marked with faint red lines like someone had gripped her too hard. She stared at the wall, not at the people, not at her son. Her lips moved, but no sound came out. Rowan felt a chill that had nothing to do with the room. His mother had been fatting for months, they said. Confusion, memory slips, long silences. He had accepted it as time finally catching an immortal mind. He had believed it because believing it was easier. Rowan stepped into the room. The floor didn't creak. The air didn't move. Yet every person there felt him because a king has weight. Halbrecht turned first, smile already prepared. "Your Majesty, perfect timing." "Why is my seal broken?" Rowan asked. The question was quiet. It was worse than a shout. Halbrecht's smile twitched. "Her Grace was distressed. The seal reacts to distress. I came to calm her." The employee spoke again, fast, brave, foolish. "No, my king. He came to shut her up. She tried to speak and he panicked." Rowan's eyes shifted to the girl. He finally saw her properly. Young, tired, skin pale from night shifts. A thin bruise on her jaw like someone had shoved her. Name tag, Mina. No family name because palace humans didn't get the dignity of full names. "Mina," Rowan said, tasting it. "Why are you in my mother's chambers?" "Because I heard the crash," she said. "And because her Grace," she hesitated, glancing at Isolde as if afraid to betray her. "She was calling for help, not with words, with her hands." Rowan looked. Isolde's fingers were tapping against her thigh, a pattern. Tap, tap, pause, tap, 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 tap. It meant nothing to most. But Rowan had been trained by Isolde herself centuries ago in old court signals used when the walls had ears. The pattern meant traitor NEAR. For the first time in years, Rowan's throat tightened. He took one step toward his mother. The enforcers moved, blocking him. "That is not necessary, Your Majesty," one said, too quickly. Rowan didn't glance at him. "Move." They didn't. Mina's voice broke. "Please, she's not safe, she's not fatting, she's trapped." Halbrecht spread his hands like a man offering peace. "Your mother is ill, she suffers. The council agreed she must be kept calm. Lady Seraphine herself." At the mention of Rowan's fiancée, Mina flinched. That flinch was tiny, but it hit Rowan like a punch. His fiancée, Lady Seraphine Vale, was all polished smiles and perfect devotion in public. In private, she avoided Isolde's wing entirely, claiming the sadness was too much. Rowan had thought it was grief. Now Mina's fear said it was something else. Rowan's gaze returned to the syringe in Halbrecht's hand. The liquid inside was clear, but it shimmered faintly, like moonlight caught in glass. "Show me the label," Rowan said. Halbrecht's smile hardened. "With respect, sire, you don't understand the delicate nature." Rowan moved. Not a blur, not a show, just a shift of space that made human eyes lose track. One moment Halbrecht held the syringe. The next moment Rowan held it, gloved fingers pinching it gently like it was nothing. Halbrecht's hand hung in the air, empty, trembling. Rowan read the tiny script. Then he read it again, slower, because his mind refused to accept it. Silent salt, 3rd grade, court licensed. Used to mute speech, dull memory, and weaken vowel binding. Rowan's eyes lifted to Halbrecht. "You've been doozing her." Halbrecht swallowed. "It's for her comfort." "You lied," Mina whispered. Halbrecht snapped, voice suddenly sharp. "Shut up," he backhanded her. The sound was small. The effect was enormous. Mina stumbled, caught herself, eyes wide, but she didn't cry. She didn't even hold her cheek. She simply stepped back in front of Isolde again, like pain meant nothing compared to the job. Rowan's guards tensed, waiting for their king to explode. But Rowan didn't, not yet. His face went still, too still. "Get out," Rowan said. Halbrecht's spine straightened. "Your Majesty." "Now," Rowan repeated. The enforcers finally moved, not away but closer to Rowan. A threat, a mistake. Mina's breath hitched. "My king behind." Rowan didn't turn. He simply raised his hand, palm open, and the corridor wind slammed through the room like an invisible fist. The enforcers hit the far wall hard enough to crack the plaster. Their weapons clattered to the floor. Halbrecht backed up pale. "You can't do this. The council." "The council does not enter my mother's room," Rowan said. "Not while I breathe." He walked to Isolde. Gently he crouched, lowering himself so his eyes were level with hers. "Mother," he said, softer than any court had heard him speak. "Look at me." Isolde's eyes shifted, slowly, like dragging a heavy curtain. For a heartbeat she focused. Her lips trembled, she tried to speak. Nothing. Then her fingers moved again, tapping on the coverlet. Tap, 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 pause, tap, tap, tap. Rowan's blood turned to ice. Because the message wasn't about a traitor near. It was a name. Seraphin. Mina gasped, because she saw Rowan understand, and she realized what that meant for her. A human employee had just witnessed the king discover his own fiancée was tied to a crime against the Queen Mother. In Nocton Court, witnesses didn't live long. Rowan stood. He didn't look at Mina, but his voice found her anyway. "You said you saw the label. How?" Mina swallowed hard. I was hired for laundry, sire. Then they moved me to banquet service. I keep my head down, I don't chat, I don't flirt, I just work. But last week I carried a tray to the infirmary. Dr. Halbrecht was there with Lady Seraphine. I heard them arguing. He dropped the vial. I picked it up to help and the label was right there. Halbrecht's mask cracked. "She's lying." "Mina, look at me," Rowan said. She did, even though her knees were wobbling. "Did you touch my mother's seal to enter?" "No, sire, it was open, like someone wanted me to see." Rowan's mind raced. Someone wanted a human to discover it. Someone wanted a witness. Either it was a trap or it was a plea. Rowan turned to Halbrecht. "You are relieved of duty. You will be held until sunrise." Halbrecht barked a laugh too loud. "You think you can jail me? I serve the council, I serve the bloodline." The word bloodline landed strange, like a threat hiding in a prayer. Rowan leaned in, voice so low it felt like a blade at the throat. "Then you should know this. I am the bloodline." Halbrecht's eyes flicked to Mina, then to Isolde, then back to Rowan, calculating. And Rowan saw it, not fear of punishment, but fear of what Isolde might say if her voice returned. Rowan straightened. "Guards, take him." As they dragged Halbrecht out, he shouted, "She's not your ally, sire. She's a spare key. A human key. Ask your mother why she keeps her close." Mina froze, face draining. Rowan's eyes narrowed. What did he mean? Mina's voice came out small. Nothing, I don't know, I'm just staff. Isolde suddenly reached out and grabbed Mina's wrist. Her grip was weak but desperate. Her nails dug in. Then Isolde pressed her forehead to Mina's hand like she was praying. A faint warmth pulsed under Mina's skin, right where a tiny mark sat, something Mina had always thought was a birth scar. Rowan saw it, a symbol like a crescent in thorn, a royal witness mark. Rowan's voice went rough. Mina, who are you really? Mina's eyes flooded. I don't know, I swear. I just wanted to earn enough to eat. I just wanted to survive. Rowan stared at the mark, then at his mother's silent mouth, then at the empty doorway where Halbrecht had been. Something in his world shifted, like the palace itself had been built on a lie and one brave human had stepped on the crack. Rowan turned to his guards. No one leaves this wing. No one speaks of this. If my fiancé asks, you say my mother is sleeping. Then for the first time he looked at Mina fully, not as staff, not as a tool, as a person standing in the blast zone of royal truth. From this moment, Rowan said, you are under my protection, not as a reward, as a necessity, because if Seraphine is involved, she will come for you next. Mina's lips parted. I don't want trouble, sire. Rowan's smile was humorless. Neither did my mother. Isolde's fingers tapped again, frantic now. Tap, 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 tap. Rowan translated, heart pounding. Tonight, blood moon, banquet. And beneath that warning was the last word carved into taps like a dagger, confession. Rowan felt his pulse in his jaw. The blood moon banquet was hours away. The whole court would attend. Seraphine would stand at his side, smiling for cameras, pretending to love a king whose mother she had silenced. Rowan stepped closer to Mina, voice a whisper that sounded like a vow. If you've got any sense, you'll be terrified right now. Mina nodded, tears sliding. I am. Good, Rowan said. Stay scared. It'll keep you sharp. Because if my mother tries to speak at that banquet, the person who stops her won't be an enemy from outside. It'll be someone smiling in the front row. Far down the corridor, a soft chime sounded, an announcement bell for banquet preparations. And somewhere else in the palace, Rowan could almost feel Seraphine turning her head, as if she'd sensed the king's attention shift away from her for the first time. Mina whispered, barely audible, Sire, if your mother can't speak, how will she confess? Rowan looked at the witness mark on Mina's wrist, then at Isolde's desperate eyes. By using you, Rowan said, and that's why you're already in danger. Rowan didn't ask if Mina agreed. He signaled and 2 guards stepped in, not rough, just firm, forming a wall around her. You're coming with me, Rowan said. Not to serve wine, to stand where I can see you. Mina's laugh came out broken. So protective custody, Rowan's eyes flashed. Call it what you like. If Seraphine thinks you're loose, she'll snatch you before midnight. Isolde lifted a trembling hand and touched Mina's cheek, then pointed at Rowan, then at Mina, then pressed her palms together. The old sign for, trust her. Mina swallowed because the queen's touch felt like permission, and the king's order felt like a trap. The blood moon never rises quietly. By the time the first red edge touched the sky, Nocton Palace was glowing like a wound. Chandeliers blazed. Velvet banners hung heavy. Immortal nobles filled the grand hall in jewels and arrogance. Laughter echoed. Blood wine flowed. Music swelled. And at the top of the marble stairs stood King Rowan Vale, with a human employee at his side. Whispers spread like fire through dry leaves. Why is she here? That staff. Has he lost his mind? Mina could feel every stare slicing into her skin. Her dress was simple black silk, nothing grand. No crown, no title, just the king's shadow. Rowan didn't look at her, but his presence beside her was loud enough. A message without words. Across the hall, Lady Seraphine Vale turned slowly. She wore silver lace and diamonds like frost. Beautiful, perfect, untouchable. Her smile did not falter. But her eyes changed. Just a fraction. She walked toward them gracefully. My king, she purred, curtsying perfectly. Then her gaze flicked to Mina. And staff. Mina kept her head bowed. Rowan did not. Seraphine, Rowan said evenly, you look radiant. She smiled wider. And you look troubled. Do I? Rowan asked calmly. Seraphine stepped closer. You've moved the human to your side, that's new. She's under my protection. Seraphine's eyebrow lifted. Protection from what? Rowan's voice lowered slightly. From people who silence the truth. For the first time, Seraphine's smile froze. But she recovered quickly. Truth is fragile in a kingdom, my love. It must be handled carefully. Mina's heart was pounding so loud she thought someone might hear it. Suddenly, the great doors opened again. The hall fell silent. Queen Mother Isolde entered. 2 attendants supported her. She looked frail, pale, almost lost. Gasps rippled. She shouldn't be here. She's too weak. She can barely stand. Rowan walked down the steps slowly, took his mother's arm himself, led her to the center of the hall. Seraphine stepped forward gently. My king, this is not wise. Her grace needs rest. Isolde's fingers twitched. Tap. Tap tap. Rowan's jaw tightened. He turned to the hall. For months, Rowan began, voice carrying effortlessly, you have been told my mother is fatting. Murmurs of agreement. You have been told her mind is failing. More nods. Rowan's gaze shifted to Seraphine, then to Halbrecht's empty seat. You have been lied to. Silence crashed down. Seraphine's posture stiffened. Rowan. Silence, he said softly. The word hit like a command. Rowan raised the small silver vial. The same one from Isolde's chamber. Silent salt, he said clearly. 3rd grade, used to mute speech, dull memory, break vow binding. Gasp, shock, fear. Seraphine's face remained composed. Where did you find that? In my mother's room, Rowan replied. The hall erupted in whispers. Seraphine stepped forward carefully. Dr. Halbrecht administers treatment approved by council. You misunderstand. Rowan's eyes burned silver now. I understand perfectly. He turned to Mina. Show them. Mina's hands trembled as she lifted her wrist. The witness mark glowed faint violet under the blood moon. A ripple of unease moved through the nobles. Seraphine's calm finally cracked. That mark, someone whispered. Rowan's voice cut through the noise. The oath witness does not activate by accident. It activates when a royal truth is threatened. All eyes shifted to Seraphine. She laughed softly. This is absurd. You would accuse me on the word of a servant. No, Rowan said, on the word of my mother. He turned to Isolde. Mother, Rowan said gently, you do not need to speak. Use her. Isolde lifted her shaking hand. Placed it over Mina's glowing mark. The hall lights flickered. Mina gasped as a rush of images flooded her mind. Not dreams. Memories. Isolde's voice, clear, strong from years ago. Seraphine cannot marry him. Why? Rowan's younger voice. Because the bloodline claim is false. Gasps exploded through the hall. Mina's voice came out layered, her own and Isolde's echoing through her. The veil lineage altered the royal archive, Mina spoke unwillingly. The current claim to Noctin throne was adjusted 3 generations ago. Seraphine's mask shattered. That is treason, she snapped. Yes, Rowan said coldly, it is. Mina's body shook as more memories spilled. Seraphine arranged the silent salt, Mina continued, to prevent me speaking before the engagement ceremony. The hall went deadly still. Seraphine stepped backward. You believe this human over your future queen. Rowan looked at her for a long, hard moment. No, he said calmly. I believe my mother. Seraphine's composure dissolved. You think you can rule without Vale's support, without our army, without our gold. Rowan stepped down from the platform. He stood face to face with her. I would rather rule with truth than survive with lies. Seraphine hissed quietly, "You'll regret this." "Perhaps," Rowan said. "But not tonight." He turned to the court. Lady Seraphine Vale conspired to silence the Queen Mother. She manipulated the physician. She altered royal record. Guards moved instantly. Seraphine did not fight. She simply stared at Rowan. "You're choosing a human over your throne." Rowan's answer was soft. "I am choosing my mother." Seraphine was dragged away. The hall buzzed with chaos. Nobles whispering. Alliances shaking. Rowan turned back to Isolde. Her eyes were clearer now. For the first time in months. She lifted one hand, took Rowan's hand, then took Mina's, and slowly pressed them together. Her voice cracked through the hall. "Weak, but real. This house," she whispered. "You both brought it back to life." Mina's tears fell freely. Rowan closed his hand over hers. Isolde smiled faintly. Then her strength faded. But not her peace. The hall remained silent. Because what they had just witnessed was bigger than politics. It was restoration. Rowan looked at Mina. Not as staff. Not as witness. But as the person who stood between corruption and truth. "You saved her," Rowan said quietly. Mina shook her head. "She saved you." Outside, the blood moon reached its peak. Inside, the throne no longer felt poisoned. Rowan faced the court once more. "The Vale Alliance is dissolved," he declared. "Shock. Truth will rebuild what deception broke." And then he did something no vampire king had done in centuries. He stepped down from the throne and stood beside his mother and the human employee. Equal, not elevated, because power that listens lasts longer. Mina exhaled slowly. She had come here for wages. She stayed for loyalty. And tonight, everything changed. If this twist hit you, if you felt that betrayal burn, drop a like and subscribe to Vampire-Verse for more dark royal dramas, where loyalty beats bloodlines and truth shakes thrones. Because sometimes, the most powerful person in the palace isn't noble. It's the one brave enough to stand between a king and a lie.